Let's go dealing.
That's Brick. Hi, Brick. Why you being so quiet?
Yeah, I'm just crazy. Every now and then she'll have her do episode of CG and stuff, and won't goes away. And she's actually an interview. She's like, give me. I made it out and do something. So I said, I'm going to football. I made it out. I go away from the girl. So it's like, I want to bail out, but she's all 4 kids in college, so that life is crazy. I want to select, so doing the whole travel thing. Yeah.
You go to this game.
And that's what people were doing. I'm looking for local because the other two are in rest. So like she's gonna be doing this in town thing and traveling games. I'll be taking Bryce out and they're taking goals for the UCF. So 9 years old, he's playing the UCF and he's learning a lot.
That's what I learned.
Exactly.
With all the kids. Yep. I always loved it in youth football, baseball, all the kids just the amount of, granted, they might sing a little bit more, but it's just like,
and then just the thing is, he's a perfectionist, and so like he starts getting counted on by goals and stuff. Next thing you know, I start getting down and stuff. It's like, damn, you're pressing 30 shots right now. Right? You're letting in 6 or 8. It's like, that's not bad. Yeah, right?
Watching the Sounders play.
Exactly. Yep. No, everything's good. And I can't complain very much. How about you? How's your time life? How's family?
I just went off to college, like actually in college, not at home in college. I just graduated master's degree. She's trying to find. She had one light up in Port Townsend. So there's no berries that could run to get her in school in time, so I never know before her. So she could take it. She had some online shit that she was going to do because Washington State paid for her master's degree. She had to teach at Washington for 3 years. So she can't.
Teaching?
Yeah, last year she thought she was student teaching in Alabama. That's kind of crazy. I see little kids from Alabama talking about that.
Oh yeah, I bet that was about sound like my young 5-year-old talking to me. What did you say? Oh, that's awesome.
Be at the wrong place at the right time.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not much. It's like 3 years. It's
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's good shit. I'm trying to just ping me for this freaking Neptunes and it's just like we got GCI lead at the same time, and so it's like exciting.
That all started when it's all fine, right? Like, hey, we need to get a TV kit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's, so is that what you got? You gave up the party.
Yeah, well, this is sliding.
Kind of.
I hired somebody else. That's what
It's always a pain in the ass. Oh yeah, for sure. All right, good talking, Mike.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's even better. It's weird because it's even better. You got it.
Terrified.
Well, that's a little bit different. They just they actually keep their ring as a we're going to start the ceremony in about 5 minutes. Everyone can check their phones, make sure they're on silent, please.
Oh, yes.
Do it, dude.
So we're already posted the game when they
All right, will the guests please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing and covered for the playing of the national anthem. Security officer, Evan Duda, arriving. Electronic Attack Squadron 133, arriving. Color Guard, parade the colors.
stripes and bright stars through the perilous sky. All the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's fragment, the bunkers singing, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sailors, that star-spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Color guard, retire the colors. Post the side boys. Side boys, standard, face. Hope. All right, everyone, please be seated. Military members, on cover. Everyone hear me all right? All right, good afternoon. For our honored guests, shipmates, family, and friends, we'd like to welcome you to this special occasion marking the retirement of Chief Aaron Duda. We'd like to give a special thanks to the Commanding Officer, Commander Abusevich, and Master Chief Retired Mike Dowdy for being with us this morning. We are gathered this day to witness the final stage in a productive and honorable 22-year naval career. We are also gathered to say thank you to a shipmate for his many contributions during his career. We extend a special warm welcome to his wife Brandy, daughter Kaylee, and Cohen, and his parents Mike, Luis, and Debbie for coming. And with that being said, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the retiring officer for today's ceremony, Commanding Officer, Electronic Attack Squadron 133, Commander Kyle Abusevich.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our retirement ceremony. Congratulations, Chief. Chief to be retired. Thank you for having me here and asking me to be your retiring officer. It's an honor and a pleasure, and welcoming everybody, friends, family, military members, mighty wizards, push it up.
Push it up.
All right. So, after the retiring ceremony, what does it mean? What does it mean to retire a chief? All right. So, what's really hard is standing here in the CPO mess and at the CPO club and having me talk about the history of the chief. So, bear with me. We always think of April 1st, 1893 as the birthday of the chief. I would argue that. I think the birthday of the chief is much earlier than that. I think that date is the date where we recognize that we started paying the chiefs a little bit more, which is definitely a good day to remember. The first recorded history of the chief is actually in 1776, the chief cook. I think they only wrote it down because he was a cook, but I would argue that there were many other chiefs on many ships in the Continental Colonial Navy before they stood it down. And we went for a number of years without a navy as a newly formed country. And then in 1797, we got 6 frigates. And of those 6 frigates, 3 of them were 44 gunships, and 3 of them were 38 gunships. And when they made them in 6 different ports, and they put them afloat within 2 years of each other. They gave each of those ships a commanding officer. And commanding officer, the Constitution, I believe, was the first one that actually, it was the second one. The Constitution was the second one that went afloat. And the commanding officer got a crew of 450 sailors. And of those sailors, a number of them were already designated as commissioned officers. The rest of them were handed to them, and they were designated as seamen or petty officers. And of those petty officers, there were different skill sets, different capabilities, and the commanding officer would choose a top petty officer within each of the rates that were a part of those first posts in the United States Navy. And those, I would argue, are your first chiefs. They were the experts. They were the smartest ones on the ship in their rates. And the captain of the ship had to trust them. They trust them with, because the captain couldn't be all over the ship at all times, nor could all the officers on board these big ships in the brand new Navy. And that tradition carried on. And it was actually the Civil War where the Navy actually started recognizing that we are calling chiefs chiefs, and we need them. I talk about this because what has set the chiefs apart for me from the time that I was a division officer all the way to now, it's always changed. And it's become more and more apparent to me, especially as a commanding officer, how and why the rank of the chief has survived for so long. They're trusted experts, they're trusted advisors, and I wouldn't be able to perform my job without my chiefs. Okay, so phrases like "ask the chief," right? Those come to mind, right? That's a little cliche. The new one is "where was the chief when something went wrong?" All right, well, that sounds bad, but really the reason I like that is because that sets in place where the chief came from. Trusted, I know I can trust the chief, so where was he to tell me exactly what happened, because I don't know, I wasn't there, so please help me. And that's been my experience with Chief Judah, and that's why I reach back all the way as far as I do to express my gratitude and dedication to the chief, and also for Chief Judah being to exemplify that person to me. Day 23 is where we started, huh? Test land. We know how I feel about that, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. 15 years after that, all high-level maintenance and instructing, and not a whole lot of fleet time. Then you went to the dark side, VFA 102. All right, started getting some of your operational career, spent a long time in first class, and then you came to Whidbey Island, 142, and now here where you're finishing 133. 3 years as a chief, and I think if you remember anything from what I tell you, keep this in mind. So, of those petty officers that were brought onto the ship, right there, and then you have your top petty officers, those were your chiefs. And then of those top ones, there was one or two that were considered the senior chiefs, or senior chief today, right? You were there. You were one of my senior chiefs, and I'm sad to see you leave the Navy because I wanted to pin senior chief on you. That would, and you were there. You were ready, and I was very excited for you. However, you're going on to do some other things, right? And your naval service isn't necessarily fully over. Right? You will still serve the Navy in making sure that we have the best jets that we have. So, my personal experience with Chief Judah, I first came aboard and someone told me this chief was retiring. And I was like, when I walk to the desk and I say, hey, this jet's broken because of this, and this, Chief Judah would be like, got it. And you'd already have your gripe written up. You'd already be on the radio yelling at the AEs or the ATs or wherever it might be outside of his rate, because he knew everything about the jet and he knew how to translate air crew speed into maintenance speed. And it's that leadership that you had and that you brought to our command that has made our chief mess as strong as it is. We've had some ups and downs with the chief mess, and you've been the glue to hold it all together. And it's been very, very apparent to me. So thank you for everything that you've done and provided to the command. For the family, let's see, Brandy. Thanks. We've only met a couple times, but it was great meeting you a couple times that we did. Daughter, right? Cohen and Kaylee. One daughter, one son. Cohen and Kaylee. Mother Lois, thank you so much. You raised an incredible boy. And father, Michael. Yes, and stepmother Debbie. You've been in his life for a long time. Yes, so you're right.
Oh, he was 4 years old.
Yeah, oh, before that, all right. Well, thank you, all three of you raised an incredible son, and I'm gonna miss my time with him, and I've relied on him a lot, so thank you. All right, so on behalf of the Navy, thank you for everything that you've done, an incredible 22-year career. I'm sorry to see it end. Fortunately, I don't think this is goodbye. I'm not gonna recognize you, if you're gonna have a beard, right down there you are. Already excited. I know when I walk by Mike, but yeah, I gotta tell him, make sure that's actually him. So thank you. And so for one last time, Chief Duda, front and center.
Attention to award. Department of the Navy, this is to certify that the Secretary of the Navy has awarded the Navy Marine Corps Commendation Medal to Chief Aviation Instructional Mechanic, Aviation Warfare, Aaron M. Duda, United States Navy. For meritorious service while serving as Aircraft Division, Safer Flight, and Flight Deck Coordinator while assigned to Electronic Attack Squadron 133 from November 2018 to October 2021. Displaying exceptional leadership, he meticulously managed 179 sailors, providing mission-ready aircraft through one deployment, 8 detachments, and the completion of 3,828 sorties and 5,412 mishap-free flight hours. His efforts resulted in the qualification of 6 safer flights, 21 collateral duty inspectors, 287 maintenance qualifications, and the safe execution of 79 combat sorties and 645 flight hours on board USS John C. Stennis in support of Operation Inherent Resolve and Freedom Sentinel. His superlative achievements culminated a distinguished career of 22 years characterized by loyal and faithful service. Chief Duda's distinctive accomplishments, unrelenting perseverance, and steadfast devotion to duty reflected credit upon himself and were in keeping in the highest tradition of the United States Navy. Signed, Captain Good. Now will Mike, Lois, Debbie, Brandy, Cohen, and Kaylee please come up front. Certificate of appreciation from the United States Navy. To all who shall see these presents greetings, by the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation in the United States Navy for your unselfish, faithful, and devoted service during Aaron's naval career. Your unfailing support and understanding helped to make possible Aaron's lasting contributions to the nation.
Thank you.
Mike, Lois, Debbie, Randy, Cohen, David.
Rob, we're busy.
Everyone, please be seated. Flight detail. Attention. Post. Flight detail. About face. I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestic over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher. My colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped. I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered. I am loved, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, the jungles of Guam, Darwin, Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, and scores of places long forgotten by all, except those who were there with me. I was there. I led my sailors and Marines. I followed them. I watched over them. And they loved me. I was on a small hill on Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, tired. But my sailors and Marines cheered me. I was proud. I was at Ground Zero in New York City on September 11th as cowardly fanatics attacked America. I was raised from the ashes of once proud buildings by brave firefighters, heroes who risked their lives to save others, showing all that America, although bloody, will never be beaten. Those who would seek to destroy me cannot win, for I am a symbol of freedom, of one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I've been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country, and when it is done by those whom I have served in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the surly bonds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the uncharted new frontiers of space. I've been silent witness to all of America's finest hours, but my finest hour comes when I'm torn into strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle, or when I fly half-mast to honor my soldiers, airmen, sailors, and Marines, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the gravesite of her fallen son or daughter. I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God. Long may I wave. Flight detail. Post.
This flight was flown over Enhanced will be on 27 June 2020. At this time, the AQ 133 CPO mess will present Chief Duda with the departing gift. All right, now Chief Duda's family will present him with a shadow box. When a sailor retires and departs the ship for the last time, it is bad luck for sailor's shadow to touch land before the sailor. So the sailor's shipmates will traditionally construct a sturdy box in which to display the mementos of the sailor's accomplishments, symbolically creating a shadow of the sailor, which will remain on board until the box can be given to the sailor at a later time on shore. Ideally, a shadow box serves not only as a reminder of achievements and accomplishments, but also as a summation of a career. These usually include awards, medals, duty stations, insignias, and uniform devices showing the sailor's progression. The national flag is placed inside the shadow box to symbolize the country that has benefited from the faithful service of the recipient of the shadow box. I would now like to introduce Chief Retired Sam Giles, who will be citing the CPO Retirement Creed.
Aaron, we have on this day experienced that which comes to us all who serve on active duty in our Navy. I say our Navy, because your departure from the active duty in no way terminates your relationship. By law and by tradition, U.S. Navy retirees are always on the rolls, ever ready to lend their service when the need arises. The respect that you earn as the chief was based on the same attributes that will now carry into retirement. You should have no regrets. Do not view your retirement as an end of an era, but rather as orders to a new and challenging assignment, to a form of independence. Remember well that you have been and always will be an accepted member of the most exclusive of all fraternities, that of the U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officer. My apologies. Chiefs, please stand. The active duty chiefs salute you. And salute. Ready? 2. And your retired chiefs welcome you. Welcome, welcome. Fair winds and following the seas. Baby school.
All right, I would now like to introduce Master Chief Aviation Machinist, Aviation Maintenance Administration Manager, Mike Maybe I should start off like Senior Chief Sexton over there. All right, good afternoon, family, friends, and shipmates. Special welcome again to Brandy, Kaylee, Cohen. I'm going to try not to roast them too bad, but it's a try. You know, I definitely won't curse because I know the live stream. So. Thanks for the heads up on that. I appreciate it. Also, again, thank you to Lois, Mike, Debbie, Cara, Silas, what? Kara. Sorry. Silas. Is that Silas? Good job, buddy. Good over there. Tom and Leanne, thank you for making the journey here. I'm glad you guys could all travel here. Before we get started, Mike, if I go too long, the directions of the smoke pit, you like stand up, make a right, make another right, go to the back of the room, make another right, go up those 4 stairs, you're gonna make a left, you're gonna make another right, veer left, you go right outside the door. I'm pretty sure you can make it back to us, because there's windows. So if y'all don't know, Mike's the avid smoker, so were many of us on cruise, and he got lost a few times. So, today is a celebration. Celebration of dedication of service. Celebration of success. Celebration of friendship, camaraderie, and sacrifice, both known and unknown. It's an honor to be asked to be the last person to say great things about you, Aaron.
course, many of you probably wondered why we picked him. I don't know. I'm not going to bore you with all his commands. I know Skipper's already went over those, but I will talk about the important ones, the ones we serve together in. Those are the most important. Before I get into that, let's talk about the important highlights. Number one, family. Married to the love of his life, and has 2 charismatic kids that he's proud of. Believe me, he's proud of them. Talks about the good and the bad. I can honestly tell you, Aaron's love for his family knows no bounds. But away from you, he talks about everything he do. Like I said, the good or the bad, he's always got to talk about it. Probably just depend, make sure he's feeling like a dad. Many of us are gone so long. Through all the birthdays, anniversaries, and important events missed while serving our country, your family's ups and downs, you made it here. Congratulations. Number 2, the highlights of making friends from all around the world. Many things you wouldn't have done from your little small town had you not joined the Navy. You've been around the world, met lots of people. You wouldn't have done it without this job. It is a job. Number 3, let's remember all the worldly dangers you survived. This is awesome. My after shows I started saying something. Because I told him everything I took out, so that's why he's laughing. We have survived through September 11th, 20th anniversary this year. Afghanistan, which you all know what's going on over there. Iraq. You made it through Germany and Turkey. Tough life over there. You also survived the Y2K bug, which was going to be the end of the world. All of us old people, Y2K, we're going to lose all our computers. 286 we're going to crash. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. You survived 12 years of deployments to what really the rest of us would all call shore duty. You call it man on deck. Yeah. Who goes on deployment and goes to Germany? You don't have to worry about how much you drink, but how much you work. Now, the biggest highlight, the other danger you have, and most of the folks in 130, most of the chiefs in 133 will tell you, you survived walking around on Liberty with your satchel. You're welcome. It's European man bag, okay? That's what he calls it. It's a satchel. You need a gym bag. Okay. Definitely rock it out. Through 22 years of service, there's been one constant. That's Chief Yuga. Whether serving in the Combined Test and Evaluation Squadron, where you learned the greatest slogan of work hard, play hard, it's called Tomcat Way Skipper. Or, like I already said, the Sea Duty Shore Duty went for 12 years. He was always grooming his leadership skills. Many times in one time. It did take him 15 years to learn the best life skill of an airframer. The skill of composite repair, or composite as he likes to write. For those of you that don't know, it's the art of taking fine resin or sticky stuff, glue, to a fibrous material, fabric, and putting it in a bag, wrapping it up, and applying temperature, or like putting a blow guard in the bag. Something anybody could learn. We call it the magic skills, which truly make your weight worth the gold here in this community. Without a composite repair, you get a scratch on the surface, you can't fly. I don't know why. That's the truth. It is up here. So after he learned that skill, and the Navy let him teach our young sailors in Lemoore, he made a decision, or like most of us, I think he was probably told by the Navy to go to 102, forward deployed in Japan. Now, we've already told you 15 years was pretty much on shore duty. And here, in what year was it? 2016. 2016, he finally goes to a real squadron, on a real ship, in a real country. So life happened after a few months. I know you weren't there very long, but you got your orders for the 142. And that, again, was also in 2016. So for me in 142, we had just started our deployment workups with our brand new E-18G growlers. Everybody called them new because they looked perfect, so they said. We didn't have a lot of experienced airframers. So anybody here transitioned before? Okay, all the old people in the back. So the Growler airframer and the Growler airframer are two totally different animals, and they couldn't really handle it. So it was really hard when you would scratch a panel. I mean, they take a screw out of it, they scratch it, and so you know we're ordering a $50,000 panel for a little scratch you could put some fingernail polish on or something and call it good. But those are the things we were going through. So you can understand a quick look at somebody's record, seeing if they were composite repair tech, greatest guy to have come to you for me. Super excited. What I failed to pay attention to is everything before the composite repair. And the fact that he was an ELU tech where he bent a bunch of metal and fixed a bunch of prowler stuff. So really, technically, he only had about 6 months worth of Super Hornet experience coming to the squadron. Upon our first meeting, I could tell he was a true leader. No matter what you say about somebody's experience, I know a lot of times he said he didn't know that piece of gear existed, or what is this for? Where does that go to? What is the pub? A lot of things that came out of my first class LPOs his mouth when he first showed up. But leadership was the number one thing we needed in command, and that's what you gave everybody. There may have been a few heated discussions. You know, it wasn't all rainbows and unicorns. It was a few very blatant moments of maintenance control. Rick, were you there for that? No? You heard about it?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Everybody can hear Rick talking about it. So, halfway through that 2017 deployment now, the Navy decided to allow first class petty officers to go to 22 years. It's a big moment, all right? So I sat down with at least 5 first class petty officers, asking them if they wanted to extend those 2 years. Now, Aaron was at about 14 months remaining. He was already worried about getting out, what's he going to do. So I called Aaron up. I called up his division chief. We sat down in maintenance control. And out of the 5 people I talked to, he's the only one that said, I want to make chief. There was no discussion. There was no thoughts. There was no, I need time to think. It was, I want to make chief. So coming out of somebody that had 14 months, he was 20 years, or sorry, 18 years and 6 months, didn't have a lot of time left. That's the first thing. On deployment, knowing that we just left the command, came to a command, that's what we want to do. So it's a little bit of inspiration there. So first thing I said was, get your brown jersey or get to the line shack. Right? To me, the line shack is the number one place to put somebody if you want to see them advance. It's one of the hardest jobs. Is dealing with the youngest people, usually the most problems. Somebody you have to trust on a radio to help coordinate, getting our aircraft moved around, getting fuel, getting people where they need to be. Standing up there, what then in the Gulf was 140 degrees, I think, in the shade, at least. So, again, that's 6 months experience. So, put him up on the flight deck. He was there for about 30 days before I started asking a bunch of questions. So, what I did notice in Aaron's competitiveness was not really there to make A and C. So 30 days into it, I started asking about safe flight, right? Like, I need to learn the flight deck. I was like, so what about safe flight? I need safe flight on the desk up there, or on the deck. So started laying out little tidbits of things you need to do. Safe flight, being up there in the line shack, getting involved with the command. She took over MWR, did a great job. Anybody ever seen the dude circuit? Did you see it? Yeah, great job to do the circuit.
Yeah. Now we gotta figure that out.
So we got off of the 2017 deployment. Within a month, I had already transferred to 133. Aaron was left back there to do what he does. And he quickly started, checking all those things off the list. And I'd say by about March of 2018, that's a safe flight. Solidified what I believed everything he needed to do to make chief. I went on to 133. We started work downs right after I got off the deployment. And I think it was probably the second week of August. When you called me and found? I think we were found. Yeah, the second week of August, he called me and he said, thank you. Thank you for what? It's like, I made chief. Thank you. The one thing that a lot of folks always say is thank you to leaders that help them get where they're going. But I can definitely tell you, and honestly tell you, that he's never, he was always there. Always you, he was always there. He did this to me in my retirement. All right, so shortly after that phone call, Aaron told me he made chief. I had a chief that made senior chief, and they decided to, I didn't need a senior chief, but 142 needed a senior chief, and that left me with no chief. So, of course, when Aaron stops by to say hi and say, "Since I'm much hard foot," Randy, that's when I told him he's coming to 133. I know it wasn't great news, but as I've already told you guys, throughout the whole time, I knew what I was getting. I knew what I needed. I knew what I wanted. We had a young Chiefs mess. We had a lot of turnover. Actually, 133 didn't have enough Chiefs, so we were trying to build that mess up. I didn't carry been on deployment the last 3 years. I didn't carry been away from home the last 3 years. What I cared about was taking care of our air crew, taking care of all the sailors, and getting the job done. That was the guy to do it. And that's why he was number one on my list. When he came to 133, I put him on nights. If you don't know, again, that's where all the magic happens. You have to have somebody you can trust at night, doing the job, getting everything done, and dealing with all the fun stuff at night. I can say he was always happy to work nights. Yes, Jerry, or Aaron's always happy. Jerry. So, if you get a chance to meet Jerry, he'll tell you all the stories how Aaron would get upset, argue a point, counter a point, argue that point, and then argue that point again until he came back to his original decision where, basically you just have to let him rant and rave for a couple of hours. And he'll get it done when he wants done. Occasionally, there'd be that 3 o'clock in the morning wake up, Adam. Yeah, it's on fire. It's on fire. Well, it's not on fire anymore. So we had a few incidents that happened at night, which would normally, I get up, I come in the morning, I always wanted that cup of coffee, and it would start off with, "How did you sleep?" So, okay, here we go. What happened last night? Skip were wondering if you should be on nights or not. They're killing me. So again, Randy, Kaylee, Cohen, I'm sorry for making them leave so soon, but we can all be proud that DQ 133 and the Navy is today what it is because of him. People advance because of him. People are successful because of him. I definitely want to say thank you for letting me come out and play with all this stuff. Now, today I can say he's all yours now. Free to enjoy his obsession with lizard people. Okay, if you haven't heard this one, lizard people. Pretty sure if you look it up on Facebook, it's just a Mark Zuckerberg, bashing page, but lizard people. You had the conversation. See? Free to enjoy his passion of all things morbid, like horror film stars and serial killers. I still got all the pictures. Free to have those endless discussions, because you won't have Adam around, about Sasquatch, Yeti, Loch Ness Monster, how they're all related, who's mom, who's dad, what's interconnected, what's not interconnected. So go through all those. And then my favorite for you to enjoy is free to enjoy his obsession with the flat earth. That's all, y'all catch on to this. So this is a man that believes in the flat earth societies, flat earth ideas. Even though he sailed all the way around the world. Yeah, eagerly plays with all those beliefs. Enjoy. Have fun with those conversations. Maybe you can call Adam and he'll come distract you. In closing, I want to say thank you, Aaron, for allowing me to speak. Thank you for your service and friendship. I wish you the traditional fairways and following seas. Enjoy it. Have fun.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present Chief Aaron Duda.
All right, thank you everyone for being here today, for my retirement. This is surreal. It's really strange to be standing up here, after all this time. 23 years ago, if you would have told me that I would retire from the Navy as Chief Petty Officer, I told you you're smoking crack. I never thought I would even join the military, maybe 6 months before I did, probably, right? And then here I am at the end of a successful career. Made a pay grade that I've looked up to for years and get to retire in that pay grade. So this is a really special time for me, and all you being here to share that with me means a lot. So if you're out here, if you can hear my voice right now, you probably influenced or mentored or did something to that effect to help push my career. So thank you. And it's really great to see how many people showed up, because that they kind of verifies my suspicions that I'm pretty awesome. And we know I needed that ego boost. All right, Skipper, sir. Duskovich, I can spell that now, by the way. Just so you know. I feel really fortunate to actually get to retire and have a skipper that I actually like to be my retirement officer. So, and that's like usually probably maybe 50-50 shot, probably about half the skippers I like. And honestly, my favorite skipper about that. If you don't know Skipper Duskovich, he is a genuinely good man who, I've gotten to know him a little personally, and when you really get the inside, the gooey center of the skipper, there's a drive there towards people like I haven't seen in a leader at his level. Now maybe I just got to know him better than I've known other skippers, but he's truly driven by developing people and doing what's best for the people, the mission, the nation, and balancing that all out. And he's done it better than any commanding officer I've seen before. So I feel really lucky to have you here. It's been an absolute honor to serve with you. Alongside you, I've learned a ton watching you, listening to talk. We've had some great conversations, and personal conversations, and a lot of it's been great. And I'd like to say I feel very fortunate to have you here today. And thank you for your kind words. And also, I want to thank you. If let the exit in a few, I want to thank you guys for keeping up with your phone. Although I'm pretty sure you made most of those rolled up in the middle, so you're good. So now I can carry that in the future. Big Mike, Mike Dowdy, retired Master Chief Mike Dowdy. I tried to get a no shake kit, but they said something about like I have to have 51% of my hair follicles ingrown or something to get one. I don't know what that means. So there's no one I'd rather have as my guest speaker than Mike. And that's, the first thought in my mind when I decided to retire, Mike's gonna be my guest speaker. It's a good thing he said yes, because I didn't have a backup. So, Mike taught me a lot in the time we spent together, and we've developed a really great friendship. Even though I think the beginning of our relationship was rocky, we were between the Master Chief and the AM1, both who were probably slightly insane at the time. So, but we had a lot in common, and that's why we butted heads. We were both very strong-willed, and we knew what we were talking about. So sometimes when we disagreed, it was a pretty big argument. But I learned a ton. What I learned from Mike mostly is about passion, right? For what we call good shit, right? So Mike has more passion than any Master Chief I've ever worked with, and I consider him to be one of the great Master Chiefs that's ever served. He pushes his people, but he cares about them, but he keeps his edge, which is hard to do. Mike was always kind of scared, right? Just enough. He got just enough of an edge to even scare the Chiefs a little bit, right? And that's not easy to do. So, and then still, he always made Chiefs, he made Senior Chiefs, he made Master Chiefs. He developed sailors and gave shit, but he kept his edge. And that's really hard balance. And I always try to emulate that, to keep some edge there. But that's important. You gotta have respect. He's had a huge impact on my career. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure if he ran a maintenance desk and I came in and did it, everything would be exactly the same. I'm pretty sure everything would just like Mike does. And I think it's the best way. Just all the things you've done, Mike, thank you so much. You've had a huge impact on my career. I'll never be able to repay you, but I wanted to stop trying. And that question you asked on the digits, do you want to be a chief? Man, am I glad I answered that right. Because I wouldn't be standing here if I wasn't, but it was a simple question, but probably the most important question anybody's ever asked. So thank you for that, and you'll always be my favorite person to start to punch me in the face, and that's a long list of people, so. Thanks, man. All right, what's the Chiefs mess? All right, you guys are without a doubt the most badass Chiefs mess this side of the Prime Meridian. All right, I think we know that, you know, at least I do. We've had a lot of good times, especially the old heads that are here that were there on cruise, from, you know, playing cribbage and drinking lots of Jameson and tomahawk steaks and, you know, bush lattes and Singapore hard, for those who know what that means. Thailand and searching for headphones for John for damn like 4 hours walking around. I don't know if everybody remembers that. Mike and the great Christmas tree hunt. That was a great time. So by far, the most fun I've had with a group of coworkers, sailors, shipmates, chiefs, ever. And we did all that and still managed the best maintenance department on the flight, right? So we were able to do it while we had fun, that's challenging. And all the awards are painted on the side of the deck, so we know what we did. But the fact that we had so much fun doing it is what still blows my mind when I look back on it. So you guys are awesome. You showed me what it means to be a part of something greater than myself. So thank you guys. Thanks for Adam and Ed and everybody else who stepped up, and color guard didn't show up and all this other stuff, right? It's awesome. And that's what you've always done. Keep doing it. All right. Tom and Leanne, thank you for making the trip from PA all the way out here. I was blown away when you said you guys were going to come. It means a lot. Tom, you're my oldest friend and the most loyal person I know. I'm very lucky to have you as a friend. It's one of my great accomplishments in life to keep you as a friend all this time, right? Because I'm not easy to like all the time, right? And, so I love you, brother. Thank you for being here. Leanne, thank you for taking care of this good guy, all right, and making him so happy and giving him such a beautiful family. Thank you so much. Karen and Silas. Hi, Silas. My sister Karen, my nephew Silas are here. I actually just met Silas about a week ago. All the way in from Colorado.